as the fog lifts off the mountains. It's just another Thursday morning in Appalachia. Coffee brews in homes throughout these hollows, hills, and valleys. As the hardworking men and women pull up their boots for another honest day's work. Now, we're rolling up our sleeves with you. Your story is proof that there is a future in Appalachia. Today, your community becomes our stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Virtual SOAR Summit.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times comes a knocking at the door. Then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home, far away, far from my home, sweet
Good morning, Eastern Kentucky. The scripture says, "They that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar like wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and be not faint. In this unprecedented times, let us bow to God and ask for his healing and his help during this pandemic and the blessings of God on our region. Would you pray with me? Father, we thank you for the gathering of Eastern Kentuckians and people of faith all over. We thank you for the privilege of coming to you in prayer. We ask for healing upon those in hospital beds, those who are suffering with COVID-19 and other ailments. We also ask for healing in our country, and we ask your blessings upon this summit. Particularly, we ask that you would guide our Congressman as he leads us in so many ways, our governor, and those who are behind the scenes working diligently to make better things happen in Eastern Kentucky. We trust in you, God. You told us in Scripture, if we lack wisdom, to ask of you, and you'd give it to us liberally and upbraideth not. And so we ask you to guide our minds, our thoughts, and bless those men and women who are investing in this region. Thank you for those who've invested their hard-earned treasures, and I pray you would give them the blessings as well. So Lord, be with us as we go through the balance of our agenda today. Bless everything that's said and done, for I pray this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Appalachian Wireless is Eastern Kentucky's leading provider of high-quality telecommunications products. But most importantly, we are your neighbors.
We are members of your community.
We are the parents of students in your classrooms.
We are your friends, and we're also your family.
In 1975, I began working on communications equipment here, and I would go pretty much through all of Eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, into southern Ohio. My home was in Elliott County, and as I would leave there, my wife and I had an understanding that I had no way of knowing where I was going to be, what mountain I'd be on, what holler or valley I may be in. And so rather than her not being able to go to sleep at nights when I left in the mornings, our understanding was that not to expect to hear from me until the next morning. And each morning I would touch base back in with her unless I managed to get back home that night. So we went from doing business that way to today. We've moved from a first cell tower, and a first call, I believe, was made in 1993, and now we've reached the point that we have one of the best networks that you'll find anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world, for that matter, serving the mountains of East Kentucky.
Currently, we're working on engineering for deployment of 5G, which will be coming in the near future, of constructing a Tier 3 data center, which will provide a different scope of services than we typically have in the past. With 5G, it's going to help change the way communications are done. It's not only going to be faster, but it's going to provide a higher capacity, faster bandwidth. It'll make an incredible difference for real-time response.
The first thing that sets us apart is just pure coverage. Again, we have more towers in Eastern Kentucky than all the other carriers that are based, or not based in this region, but that serve this region. So you have to have more towers in more places with the rolling hills that are the mountains of Eastern Kentucky. Another thing that sets us apart is community support. We're parts of your community. You know, our slogan is "We are you, we are Appalachian Wireless," and we mean that. What that means is that we're at your community chamber events, we're at your festivals, we're at your ball games, we're giving out, prizes and supporting schools and civic organizations, and it's all because we want to be a part of the community, and you're not going to get that with the national carriers.
We have near 300 towers throughout the service territory that we have license for, but we've been willing to take that out to where people really need them, and that is sometimes in the head of the hollers here in Eastern Kentucky, but that's where we put them. You know, when you're a national provider and you're dealing with national goals, that's going to be different than a regional carrier. We care about the people that, again, are in the head of the hollers where our competition doesn't really put much emphasis. So we try to go to those places where others may not want to go, because this is our market. This Eastern Kentucky and our service area is what's important to us. Appalachian Wireless is Eastern Kentucky's leading provider of high-quality telecommunications products. But most importantly,
we are you.
We are you.
We are you.
We are you.
We are Appalachian Wireless.
These soldiers wear scrubs. Every day, they get up, they gear up, they show up. And while the rest of the world withdraws to their homes, spends time with their families, healthcare workers must leave their families and run headlong onto the front lines of our current battle. And when they're at work, they talk, they smile, they help out in any way they can. They try to make things look normal and business as usual, when nothing in this world is normal right now, at least as we know normal to be. And why do they do this? Well, they leave their families and they come to fight for people like me and my husband, like you, like your mom or dad, or maybe your baby or grandbaby. And it's their calm, their expertise, their mercy that holds up those of us out here on the front lines with them, those of us fighting to shed this virus. And so every day they get up, they gear up, and they show up. For me and for mine, for you and for yours. And they are God's hands of mercy extended in this time. And I just want to say thank you, God, for your angels disguised as nurses and doctors, therapists, techs, as dietitians and janitors, and all the unsung healthcare workers the world over. Thank you. And Lord, please watch over their families while they're watching over mine. Amen.
When 2020 began, no one could have predicted the events that were about to unfold. As information about a novel coronavirus, or COVID-19 as we came to know it, spread throughout the world, so did the degree of uncertainty we are facing. We all quickly learned new terminology like social distancing and flattening the curve. And the realization set in that hugs and handshakes would have to cease for a time, and masks would temporarily hide our welcoming smiles. For everyone's safety, restaurants had to close, non-essential businesses locked their doors, and hospitals canceled all elective procedures. Our future was scary and uncertain, as was our financial solvency. Our state and federal leaders reached out a helping hand in the form of stimulus packages and other funds to save the nation's healthcare system. But in our region, and through all the uncertainty, Pikeville Medical Center found a path, not merely to survive, but to grow. At the end of March, PMC opened a drive-through laboratory service next to the 24-hour drive-through pharmacy for convenient care and safe transactions. During the same time, existing plans to launch telehealth services were expedited and implemented in record time. By mid-April, patients could see and speak with their doctor through a computer or smart device without leaving home. PMC installed Wi-Fi hotspots in our parking lots and secured other locations in our regions for patients lacking adequate signal strength at home. Patients who required an in-person clinic visit were able to do so with limited exposure. Instead of sitting in a waiting room, a text upon arrival would allow them to remain in their car until the physician was ready to see them. When PMC employees presented the idea of using 3D printers to produce face shields that offered an extra measure of protection to our staff, officials with SOAR and the City of Pikeville stepped up to help fund the project. In May, a partnership was formed between the state, PMC, and the Pike County Health Department to provide free drive-through COVID testing. Hundreds of free tests were available each day thanks to the Kentucky Department for Public Health and Commissioner Dr. Stephen Stack. Since April, PMC has administered almost 30,000 tests, which includes those done in support of our local schools and universities. PMC established an inpatient COVID ward and a COVID ICU unit, all with negative pressure rooms. Our clinical heroes have treated many COVID patients, including several sent from other hospitals and providers throughout the region. We are now approaching November, and the pandemic is affecting our region more than ever. Thanks to our federal and state leaders, free drive-through COVID-19 testing is still available, along with many other drive-through services. Elective procedures have resumed, and patients can rest assured that progressive safety guidelines have and will continue to be implemented as we are settling into our new normal. The 3,000 dedicated staff members who proudly wear the PMC uniform and fight this horrible virus are selflessly forging the path to the day when this pandemic finally comes to an end. With resolve, dedication, and the supportive resources provided by Congressman Hal Rogers and Governor Andy Beshear, we will get through this. We will get through this together, because together we rise.
By God's great mercy and through faith in Him, we have been fortunate in our region to avoid the severity of the pandemic that has ravaged parts of our country. However, we have been affected, and our numbers unfortunately are climbing. On paper, the number of those in our region who have ultimately lost their battle to COVID-19 looks small. However, to each of those families who have lost a loved one, it is every bit as devastating as the hardest hit areas in the world. Our thoughts and prayers go out to their families. In memory of those we have lost, I would like to ask for a moment of silence to honor their memory. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kim McCann, and as chair of SOAR, I would like to welcome all of you to the 2020 SOAR Summit. I would first of all like to thank Congressman Hal Rogers and Governor Beshear for all of their continued support of East Kentucky. I would also thank my fellow board members who, unfortunately, due to COVID, cannot be with everyone today in person. But I would be remiss if I did not also say how appreciative the board of SOAR is of Joshua Ball during this pandemic and time of transition and everything he has done to support this summit and to support SOAR. The summit is surely like no other. It more than any other time demonstrates the necessity of broadband. We need to be able to do our work where we live. I plan to be in Hazard today for this filming, but unfortunately, due to COVID and the status of the pandemic, I'm here in my hometown in Ashland in Boyd County. But the fortunate thing, I can still reach all of you. And we have 750 registered participants at the SOAR Summit this year, and we have 120 booths. All of you are the future, and you're all working for the future, and we appreciate you. We also have someone else working for our future, and that's Mr. Tim Thomas. Mr. Thomas is the federal co-chair of the Appalachian Regional Commission. We appreciate him and all he does for Kentucky and the SOAR region. At this time, I would like to turn the program over to Tim Thomas for his remarks, and please welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim McCann, for that introduction. It is a pleasure to participate in the SOAR Summit once again. Since its founding, SOAR has played a critical role in bringing together the people and organizations who care about Appalachian Kentucky communities and those who live here. Kentucky is my home, and I always appreciate the opportunity to work with SOAR because of its focus on finding solutions from the ground up, focusing on the people we hope to serve, and what they see as important steps we can make to take the development of the region to the next level. Of course, we can't talk about SOAR without recognizing the leadership of Congressman Hal Rogers, who has been a champion for Appalachian Kentucky for decades, and especially adept at ensuring this part of the country gets its fair share of federal resources. Between him and Senator McConnell, Southern and Eastern Kentucky have an effective advocacy team in Washington. I want to recognize Governor Andy Beshear for being a strong partner for ARC. Working with the governor's team, ARC has been able to invest a record amount in projects benefiting Appalachian Kentucky in the last fiscal year. Projects with real results and real benefits for Kentucky businesses and families. I offer my congratulations for a team effort well done. I also want to recognize the governor's alternate to the commission, Commissioner Dennis Keene, and Kentucky's ARC program manager, Scott Sharp, along with all the local officials, nonprofit organizations, and all others playing important roles in conceiving and implementing important projects around this region. We all know the challenges, changes in the coal market, compounded by a substance abuse epidemic, and now this COVID pandemic have taken their toll on this part of Appalachia. Of that, there is no doubt. We have opportunities, however, to invest in our infrastructure, our land, and our people, and build a stronger, more resilient region than ever before. And an organization like SOAR helps us maximize and grab onto those opportunities. People coming together to solve problems in their own communities is a well-proven model. It can lead to innovation, which is the real driver of economic development. This year, as we have done for the last several years, ARC continued its investment to increase broadband connectivity to rural areas in Appalachian Kentucky, providing over $8 million this year in funding so modern businesses can flourish and our children can connect with their schools and other resources to help them learn. SOAR has been an important proponent of rural broadband. We also invested over $17 million this year with Kentucky communities to build and maintain critical water and sewer infrastructure to ensure that our most distressed communities have the essential assets for successful community development. But even while addressing basic infrastructure, we are still reaching for the stars. We invested with Morehead State University in a program training the next generation of aerospace engineers and are a partner in the development of new projects benefiting Kentucky's youth who visit or interact with the Challenger Learning Center in Hazard. I believe it is important to the future of our region that our youth remain engaged with STEM skill building and training that will not only help them succeed academically, but prepare them for the jobs of tomorrow. That's why, despite the challenges posed by the pandemic this year, Kentucky students joined students from throughout the region to participate in a virtual version of the ARC Oak Ridge Summer STEM Academy, learning from some of the top minds this country has to offer. 2 young Kentuckians also participated in our inaugural class of our new Appalachian Entrepreneurship Academy, where they designed business plans and learned how to do the important tasks of running a business, like raising capital and building a workforce. I hope that one day these students are employing others in their communities and inspiring more young people to start their own businesses. Entrepreneurship is a ladder, not only for the people who take the risk and strike out on their own, but for the communities they live in. ARC makes important investments in infrastructure, business incubators, and capital funds to support entrepreneurship, and it is one of my very top priorities. Another of my top priorities has been addressing the substance abuse crisis in our region. Kentucky communities have felt the impact as much as anyone in this country. Our friends, family, and neighbors have been impacted by this epidemic. And in addition to the tragic consequences substance abuse has on the lives and health of those afflicted, it has taken a toll on our economy as well. Lack of healthy, ready workers has held back growth in our region. Soon after my confirmation as federal co-chairman of ARC, I determined that ARC had a role to play in addressing the economic repercussions of this crisis. And through a series of listening sessions, including one in Pineville in March of last year, we developed a wealth of informed local perspectives on how to best address this issue. We convened a Substance Abuse Advisory Council who developed a report of recommendations that has formed the basis of ARC's Inspire initiative, a $10 million competitive grant program that will award funding to community-based projects seeking to build and sustain local recovery ecosystems. A recovery ecosystem consists of linked services and resources that guide individuals from treatment into the workforce, while addressing systemic issues like stigma and skills development. Employment sustains recovery, and individuals committed to recovery can be assets to their community, to the local workforce, and local economies. Of course, none of the efforts ARC has made this year and through the years would be possible without the strong support of many of the people watching today, and without an organization like SOAR to enable the people it serves to be part of the solutions to the problems they face. We have worked with SOAR as a grantee and as a partner, and we are proud to support this conference. Thank you all who are dedicated to serving Appalachian Kentucky, and I am looking forward to the rest of the programming this week. I now will turn it over to a gentleman who has made developing and serving this region of Kentucky his life's work, and has done so effectively. Congressman Hal Rogers has been a stalwart for ARC through the years, ensuring we have the funding to do the work we do. He has enabled us to do things like rural broadband expansion and assisted us in launching new initiatives like the Inspire Recovery to Work initiative I just described. He is the epitome of a public servant. I thank the Congressman for his steadfast leadership and support, and I now turn the floor over to Congressman Hal Rogers.
Well, thank you, Tim. The first federal agency to truly buy into the mission of SOAR was the Appalachian Regional Commission. You believed in us before anyone else, and I want to personally thank you for being on this journey with us now for 7 years as dedicated partners and loyal friends to the people of Kentucky's Appalachian region. The sheer fact that we can host this virtual SOAR Summit in Eastern Kentucky with keynote speakers stationed here in Somerset, in Boonville, in Moorhead, in Frankfort, perhaps other places, is indicative of the resiliency and fortitude of this grassroots organization. It's also proof that we're becoming the nation's Silicon Holler. We've made major strides to extend high-performance broadband to every county through Kentucky Wired and local partners like People's Rural Telephone Cooperative, and you'll hear an update on that project in just a few minutes. Just yesterday, I joined USDA Rural Development to announce gigabit broadband service is now on its way to Beattyville, Buckhorn, and Livingston. Those are some of the most rural, mountainous communities in our area, so take heart. Broadband is making its way throughout the region. I especially want to thank WYMT and their stellar team for bringing this summit to you live today, all day. And Josh Ball, Associate Executive Director of SOAR, who has worked tirelessly for months to pull off a summit like never before. And as you continue to watch along with us today, you'll be stunned by the comprehensive work that has gone on into this production. The COVID-19 pandemic has challenged all of us to re-examine our priorities, to be more frugal with our resources, and not to leave anything to chance. That's why I voted for the massive and historic coronavirus package known as the CARES Act during the first weeks of the epidemic. We provided in that bill some $3 trillion to help families and businesses survive through this very uncertain time. And while we still have work to do, I'm incredibly thankful that the people of Eastern Kentucky have maintained an unwavering determination and resolve to keep working and growing in the face of adversity. And you'll see proof of that during the summit today. I specifically requested $11 billion to be set aside for rural hospitals, which were largely empty for upwards of 3 to 4 consecutive months. We had to carve out funding for rural medical facilities to ensure they can keep their doors open. And I'm pleased to say that nearly every hospital in our region received rescue funding from the CARES Act. The Paycheck Protection Program has delivered more than $340 million to nearly 4,700 Eastern Kentucky businesses, saving local jobs and keeping many of our businesses open. Again, aside from progress with COVID relief funding, I've been astonished by the work ongoing throughout our region. We have a natural treasure that's 256 miles wide, and it stretches beyond Wayne County, over to Pike County, and north to Rowan County. It's the same treasure that Daniel Boone first came to explore, the Kentucky wildlands. And we want to invite the rest of the world to come see it for themselves. For years, we've built a tourism network across county lines, and hundreds of thousands of volunteers with Eastern Kentucky pride have marched across every county, picking up litter, removing straight pipes, and cleaning up illegal dump sites with old tires and appliances and sinks tossed over the hillside. You've picked up a mountain of litter and trash. All of that work has paid off over the years, and Pride is now leading a new marketing campaign, thanks to funding from the ARC, to rebrand our region as the Kentucky Wildlands. We now have 24 or so communities organizing hiking and biking trails, while others are capitalizing on adventure tourism through ATVs, zip lining through the Appalachian Mountains, kayaking through an old underground coal mine, viewing elk, black bears, and other wildlife on former surface mining land, the expert rock climbing at the Red River Gorge, white water rafting at the Bricks Interstate Park, exploring our national parks, which now includes a new one, Mill Springs Battlefield National Monument here in Pulaski and in Wayne counties. We have a lot to be proud of in Eastern Kentucky, and the Kentucky Wildlands Project will help us capitalize on the unique tourism opportunities that we have in our Appalachian region. But tourism is only one fiber of the grand tapestry that we are weaving for the future of Eastern Kentucky. And through SOAR, we must continue to have a holistic focus to address health care, education, infrastructure, and much more. This is an urgent organization that we have that is beginning to make big differences in our region. With that in mind, I am very pleased to join Governor Andy Beshear this morning to announce the approval of 2 grants that will advance health care in Eastern Kentucky. Number 1, Pikeville Medical Center has been approved for a $4.2 million grant for its Leonard Lawson Cancer Center expansion, which will create nearly 40 new jobs and protects over 150 current jobs in Pikeville. In Eastern Kentucky, we know all too well the painful reality of cancer. We suffer from some of the highest rates of cancer and cancer-related deaths in the country. So this is a desperately needed investment to help push back those rates and save lives. Second, the second grant we're announcing today is for King's Daughters Health System. They've been approved for a $4 million grant for a major expansion project which will create 250 new jobs. This is an urgent project to meet the needs of the patients and employees impacted by the recent closure of its neighboring hospital, Our Lady of Bellefonte. Both grants are part of the Abandoned Mine Lands pilot program that I earmarked and launched in 2016 to provide access to federal funding for our hardest hit coal communities. Protecting medical services is just one of the many opportunities that we are focused on in Eastern Kentucky. I want to personally thank Secretary Rebecca Goodman with Kentucky's Energy and Environment Cabinet for her tireless work to ensure these worthy projects are given a full and fair review. Secretary Goodman, the Advisory Council, and Governor Andy Beshear have been tireless partners on the AML pilot program for Kentucky, along with countless other initiatives to benefit this region. Speaking of Governor Beshear, we started this initiative 7 years ago with his father, Governor Steve Beshear, 7 years ago. And I'm pleased to see that Andy has the same heart for the people of Eastern Kentucky. He's committed to the Kentucky Wired Project to bring broadband to every community, the Abandoned Mine Lands pilot projects, and continues to give his undivided attention to SOAR. So joining us now from the state capitol, please help me welcome our friend, Governor Andy Beshear.
Good morning. This is Governor Andy Beshear, and I want to thank everyone for joining us for the SOAR 2020 Summit. As with just about everything during COVID-19, this conference looks a little different. I know we all look forward to the time when we can get together safely again, but until then, we're going to come together as Team Kentucky to do what's right to beat this global pandemic. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone at SOAR for prioritizing everybody's safety by hosting this conference virtually. And even though it looks different, I'm so excited to be here with you today and discuss how we can continue to build an even stronger Eastern Kentucky. Building a better Kentucky in our eastern region is something my dad and your former governor, Steve Beshear, also prioritized when he worked with Congressman Rogers to start SOAR years ago. My administration is committed to bringing good jobs, health care, education, and economic development to Eastern Kentucky. We are listening, we are learning, and we are committed to building a better Eastern Kentucky. One of the first, and still one of the best decisions I made as your governor, was to name Rocky Atkins my senior advisor. You won't find anyone who knows and loves Eastern Kentucky like Rocky, and he and I talk often about how we can help the region in various ways. Before we had our first COVID-19 case on March 6th, we traveled across the state visiting local communities, awarding grants, and seeing all the hard work our communities do each and every day. And the majority of those visits were in Eastern Kentucky. We were there more than any other region of the state. And since the pandemic has taken hold, I've only been out in my official capacity a couple times. It was once again to Eastern Kentucky at the Pikeville Medical Center. That was a special day. Listening and feeling the concern and the heartache, especially of parents who had been told the best thing they could do for the health care of their children is to move. That's wrong. And what SOAR's trying to do, and what this administration is committed to, is making sure that never happens again. And of course, my entire administration admires what you all do at SOAR, because we have to have that same goal, to help Appalachian Kentucky reach economic parity with the rest of the state and the country. We've worked to do that in several ways. First, we know our local government spared no expense battling the pandemic and keeping our families safe from COVID-19. To ensure their solvency, we set aside $300 million to reimburse those expenses. To date, we've paid out more than $144 million to 242 cities and counties across the Commonwealth and have applications for the vast remaining majority. That means that those cities and counties can use it to reimburse for PPE, food assistance programs, sanitizer, telework equipment, and so much more. I'm grateful to our local officials. They have been invaluable partners during this pandemic, and in Eastern Kentucky, we have seen some of the very best leadership statewide. During these times, we've also worked with federal, state, and local partners to invest in the region. Thanks to our invaluable partnership with the Appalachian Regional Commission and co-chair Tim Thomas, we're pretty proud that we've invested more than $36 million in Appalachian Kentucky for economic development, infrastructure updates, improvements to health care, education, and so much more. We believe that that is the most that ARC has invested in any state in decades, and it happened right here in Kentucky this year. We couldn't be more appreciative of these investments that will help us build a stronger, better Kentucky. These projects include upgrades to the Morehead State University Aerospace Program, which will help them continue their legacy of being a leading university in space science. The creation of the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit at St. Joseph's Hospital in London for babies with neonatal abstinence syndrome. And just last week, we had the grand opening of App Harvest in Morehead, which will bring 300 jobs to the region and is the first step to making Eastern Kentucky the agritech capital of the world. That project is one of the 10 largest buildings, we believe, in the world. It's the largest greenhouse in North America. It's got the most sophisticated LED lighting system in the world. It's going to provide the Eastern Seaboard with tomatoes, and it's happening right here in Eastern Kentucky. We had some of the most successful venture capitalists in the world invest in this project, and their eyes are turned not just to Kentucky, but to Eastern Kentucky. And since that ribbon cutting, App Harvest has already broken ground on 2 additional projects in Eastern Kentucky, and we are seeing more in the agritech field flocking to Kentucky and looking in your region. These projects will bring real investment and prosperity to Eastern Kentucky. To ensure economic expansion is possible in the region, we've also funded projects that will expand water and wastewater capacity to accommodate new developments. To date, our Department for Local Government has funded more than $15 million in water and sewer projects, and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority has approved more than $54 million for water and sewer projects. Not only will these investments help with economic growth, they will also get us one step closer to every Kentuckian having clean drinking water, a basic human right that we're going to continue to fight for as Team Kentucky. In addition to clean water, we know we need safe roads and solid infrastructure across the Commonwealth. This week, we've announced dozens of funding awards for local governments across Kentucky. In Eastern Kentucky, we awarded more than $4 million from the Transportation Cabinet for road improvement projects. In all cases, the awards are reimbursements for work performed on resurfacing, repair of broken pavements, and drain ditching. And in all these cases, the roadways were rated in poor condition. KYTC district engineers assess the road conditions to determine the most critical needs based on factors such as safety, economic impact, and traffic volumes. A few examples include Lawrence County, which is receiving $742,000 for 15 resurfacing projects. Middlesboro is receiving $121,348 for 3 resurfacing projects. And today, I'm excited to announce the section of US 460 from the intersection with KY 80 at Beaver, just this side of Elkhorn City, to the Virginia state line is set to officially open to traffic Monday, November 16th. I know this is very good news to the folks in the eastern half of Pike County. The road and the off-ramp have been finished for a couple of years, except for final paving, striping, signage, and guardrail, and we are getting it done. This is another infrastructure project that brings us safety and economic growth opportunities to an area that really needs it. And as I continue to discuss the promise of Eastern Kentucky, I'd be remiss to not mention one particular program now in its 5th year that has made the economic future of the region much brighter. That's the Abandoned Mine Lands Pilot Program. Funded with federal dollars due to the considerable efforts of Congressman Hal Rogers, AML has spent $31 million in 20 Eastern Kentucky counties on 43 projects. Another $67.3 million remains to be expended on the projects that have received federal approval but have not yet started. Most importantly, these projects come from the vision of the very people who are with us today at this conference. This is Eastern Kentucky figuring out what Eastern Kentucky needs, working together to make it happen, and building wealth inside of Eastern Kentucky, not just trying to bring in outside folks. During the first 4 years of the program, 43 of the applications were selected by the Energy and Environment Cabinet and approved for funding by the Federal Office of Surface Mining, Reclamation, and Enforcement. Some examples of those projects include the 31 employees that have been hired at DashCore, an aluminum mill in Hazard, with the expectation that an additional 220 Kentuckians will find work there. 13 employees are working at Silverliner in Pikeville, which makes custom tankers. And the Haas E. Kentucky Advanced Manufacturing Institute in Paintsville already has produced 100 graduates who are now in the workforce making an income through a highly skilled trade. This beautiful region is also being noticed by tourists, now making reservations to experience Impact Outdoors in Manchester and David's Rails to Trails project in Prestonsburg. The opportunities are endless, and once completed, these 43 grantees are projected to produce more than 2,800 new jobs. Again, these infrastructure investments are vital as we work to drive industry and jobs. Thanks to the efforts of Kentucky's Energy and Environment Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Goodman and her team, the Division of Abandoned Mine Lands was challenged to increase transparency and outreach. The division collaborated with local area development districts to host 4 webinars where details of the program, the application process, and the selection process were discussed with over 200 interested parties. The result? A robust response with 71 applications submitted, totaling a funding request of over $234 million for about an available $25 million in grants. Secretary Goodman, she has a real challenge now, but that's a good thing as we are looking for the best opportunities to bring jobs to Appalachia. I'm pleased to join Congressman Rogers in announcing today that 2 of these projects have been selected to present to OSMRE for initial vetting. The Pikeville Medical Center Cancer Center Expansion Project in Pike County and the King's Daughter Health System Expansion Project in Boyd County. It's fitting that the AML pilot funding is being used to improve the medical services of this region, as they'll be accessible to the hardworking coal miners and their families who've contributed so much to the Commonwealth's economy over the past decades, oftentimes at the cost of their health due to the effects of mining. It is my belief quality health care is also a basic human right, and these projects will help further increase accessibility in the region. The Pikeville Medical Center Cancer Center Expansion Renovation Project will expand the space and equipment given to the oncology practice. The chemotherapy treatment area will grow by 7,000 square feet, and the hospital anticipates the hiring of a minimum of 37 additional people in the first year and retaining 152 employees. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Pikeville Medical Center CEO Donovan Blackburn and to the Director of Development, Lisa Estep, for their leadership in securing this project's funding. The medical center and its clinics will now be able to reach deep into Eastern Kentucky to improve the health of communities with programs that foster healthy lifestyle and detect, prevent, and control disease, and educate and empower members of the community to take a leadership role in improving their health and that of our workforce. The King's Daughter Health System Expansion Project in Boyd County will create 250 full-time jobs and look to mitigate the closure of Our Lady of Bellefonte Hospital that costs the region 1,000 jobs and reduced healthcare services to thousands of patients. I want to acknowledge the great work and dedication of Chief Financial Officer Autumn McFann on this project. Thank you for your commitment in seeing this through. These are great examples of how Eastern Kentucky is meeting the challenges of today and growing as a community to meet the needs of its residents. I look forward to being able to announce other AML pilot grant recipients in the days and the weeks ahead. I can promise you this: our administration will continue to prioritize projects that help Kentuckians. We will continue to create good jobs, continue to improve health care, continue to improve education, and ensure retirements are solid. Set a good example by leading with transparency and decency. But with that promise, I have to ask for your help. Help as we continue to battle this virus. To meet the needs of tomorrow, we got to come together today. We got to protect our people and our economy. All it takes is following the guidance, like wearing a mask, and encouraging those in your community to do the same. We must do better for each other and for the vision we all share of Eastern Kentucky's bright future. I look forward to this time next year where we can hopefully all be back in person. I look forward to hearing about the ideas and the projects that you will have. And I look forward to the chance to collaborate, to plan, and to commit to making Eastern Kentucky stronger, better, and to see real gains that we've been fighting so hard for. Thanks again for having me. Thanks for being a part of Team Kentucky. We'll get through this. We'll get through this together. I think our brightest days are ahead. Let's build a stronger, better Eastern Kentucky where every single Eastern Kentuckian has true opportunity. You are a part of Team Kentucky. Every single person counts. Let's build a better Kentucky. God bless. Thanks.
In a 21st century economy, connectivity is paramount. Building a broadband network across Appalachia is critical to diversifying the economy and placing our region on the right side of the digital divide. In 2015, construction of Kentucky Wired started across the state. The end goal? Installing more than 3,000 miles of fiber optic cable across the Commonwealth, creating access points in all 120 counties. Congressman Hal Rogers highlights the need during the first ever SOAR Summit in 2013.
Spreading that system throughout Eastern Kentucky and connecting it to the national grid could change our entire landscape and lift us above the ages-old barricades that have handicapped us all this time.
The infrastructure is vital for Appalachia to keep pace in a digital economy. The project's network is similar to an interstate highway system, providing exit ramps for local internet service providers to connect to, allowing them to expand their coverage, connecting to previously unreachable homes and businesses.
We've exported our best and our brightest after sacrificing to educate them with a great education, and then we ship them off. It's our ambition that we stop this cruel brain drain of Eastern Kentucky.
Once finished, Kentucky Wired will allow Eastern Kentucky to compete globally and increase economic opportunities right here in the mountains.
And we welcome you back into the Center for Rural Development here in Somerset, Kentucky. I'm Tanner Hesterberg, joined by two very special individuals. To my left, your right, is Lonnie Lawson. Lonnie is the president and CEO of the Center for Rural Development, and joining us as well is Jamie Link. Jamie is the executive director of the Kentucky Communications Network Authority. And we want to begin this segment. Lonnie, we'll start with you. Connectivity, you know better than anyone, it plays such a key role in helping develop our communities across Appalachia. And I know here at the Center for Rural Development, you have really made that a cornerstone of what you're trying to do. Use connectivity to expand into our communities, to help our communities build here all across Appalachia. Can you provide an update on what exactly the center is doing to expand connectivity and remind everyone why that is so important?
Absolutely, Tanner. Thank you for being here.
Yes,
and
sir.
The Center for Rural Development is thrilled to be a part of this SOAR Summit.
Before I get into answering his question specifically, there are some folks that I really should thank. Congressman Howard Rogers, whose vision made this possible, not only this Center for Rural Development, but the broadband initiative as well. Governor Beshear and his staff, obviously Jamie Link at Kentucky Communications Network Authority, and Tim Thomas with the Appalachian Regional Commission. We could not have done this without those folks. And certainly, I don't want to forget my Center for Rural Development Board of Directors. So what we have done, you know, we brainstormed this for many, many years, trying to figure out how we get high-speed connectivity throughout southern and eastern Kentucky. And Congressman Rogers has always pushed us to make sure that we can deliver for the folks that are in our region. And so one of the things that we've done is try to bring in all aspects of the community because when we looked at the SOAR blueprint, every single other program that we put out there was dependent upon this broadband connectivity. So the center started developing programs with the assistance of Congressman Rogers and Tim Thomas at ARC. So we developed programs to do technical assistance, whether that's feasibility studies, engineering work, helping those local broadband communities, whether it's the mayor, judge, or if they've got a separate entity that's doing that, helping them get to the vision that they have for their home communities. What we don't do is we don't go in and tell them you must do it this way. We give them the flexibility, and then we just try to provide the resources for them to be able to get broadband into their home communities. So it's subject matter experts, it's engineering, it's feasibility studies, all of those things are available through our technology assistance program here at the Center for Rural Development.
And that provides a good segue to go to Jamie with this next question. Kentucky Wired in the last year and a half has turned on several rings throughout Appalachia. For a layperson like me, what does that mean when a ring gets turned on, and can you provide a status update on that project and the difference it's making here in Appalachia?
Sure, Tanner, and thank you. And if I may also acknowledge the support of Congressman Rogers and Governor Steve Beshear and Andy Beshear. This project has been 5 years in the making now, and also the support of my colleague Lonnie Lawson and the Center for Rural Development. But you're exactly right. The Kentucky Wired network is comprised of 6 rings. We call them rings, and they're all interconnected, which provides redundancy throughout the state. So if there's a break in a cable, the light that carries the data will travel in the reverse direction so that there's very little outage of service for all the customers on that ring. To date, right now, I'm pleased to report that we have completed 99% of the fiber optic cable construction across the state. And I'm very pleased to announce that we've completed 100% of the fiber optic cable construction here in East Kentucky. As we turn on these rings and turn up service, we have to do what we call migrate customers onto the network. So in ring 1A, which was the first ring completed, that's in the Golden Triangle part of the Commonwealth that runs from Louisville to Lexington to northern Kentucky. We have now migrated over 150 state agencies over to the Kentucky Wired network. The next segment will be ring 1B, which is the East Kentucky ring. So we're working very hard to get that completed. We have a few critical infrastructure pieces yet to finalize, but we should have those completed in the next 4 to 6 months. And by that time, progressively, we'll be turning up rings and migrating customers over. Another thing that we're working on very hard is to start working with our wholesale partners to start bringing on residential and private customers working with local internet service providers.
We have time for one more question here. I'm going to go back over to Lonnie quickly, and I'm going to consult my notes here to make sure I get this right, Lonnie. The center was awarded a $7.8 million power grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission to provide assistance to communities to plan and build out last-mile infrastructure. Could you briefly explain the significance of that?
Absolutely. So the big challenge many times is the funding for these communities to be able to bring broadband into their communities. So through the work that we have done with SOAR and the Broadband Committee, we developed what I will call the last mile guide for communities. We realize that one size doesn't fit all in these communities, so we go in and we meet with the judge executives, we meet with the mayors, we meet with broadband teams in those communities, and try to bring those resources that will actually help them get that access into their community.
Lonnie Lawson, Jamie Lee, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the SOAR Summit continues right after this.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the premiere episode of Explore Appalachia. We're a bunch of young, creative Appalachians who just want to get out and explore and show off the beauty of our great region. And so, this first episode, we're going to explore some crazy, awesome adventures here in eastern Kentucky. We're going to do some zip lining. We're going to do some underground kayaking. Stay tuned, that's pretty cool. We're going to then head up later in the week to Harlan, Kentucky. Here's the rest of the team. We're just sipping back some L8. And we're gonna go to Everett's in Cumberland, where we're gonna do some UTV riding and some horseback riding as well. The goal of our platform here in this premiere launch episode is that we're trying to bring as much tourism to the area as possible. And so we don't think that people understand the beauty and the culture and what we have to offer here enough. So that's the goal here, is to show it off because we think we have a lot to offer here. So tune in. The best way you can help us is share this out. You can come to our website, you can shoot us an email, and we can get you hooked up with our newsletter that's going to send out regularly. And so let's go start exploring. Cheers.
Good morning, and we've already had a spill. The excitement right now is like when you're little and you're about to go on a vacation with your family. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're getting the cooler packed for the drive.
There you go.
She gave me the speedy one because she said she didn't know if I would get all the way across. So here we go.
Do they sting? Do they bite?
Could roast a marshmallow on that thing.
Look at it raise up on me.
Please
Pick that sucker
don't.
up.
Kevin, just pick it up.
Pick it up.
You got
Feel it like rib cage.
Okay, we're good. Good luck. Okay, am I ready? Yes. Didn't quite make it. I'm being rescued. So it's cool. My name is Mandy. That was Tyler. This is Dakota. We were your guides today. If you want to leave a review on Facebook, Instagram, yep, or blog about it, those are our names.
Is it recording? Oh, hey. Ooh. So just like quick review on the helmets they made us wear. Mine was red, but like my hair still looks pretty, I don't know, you tell me.
Check yourself out.
How we doing? Fort Edwards. Single?
All right, see you.
Josh, where are we?
We're in a cave.
We're
not in a cave.
Not a cave.
We're about to be in a cave, but we're getting ready to hop in a boat, also known as a kayak.
Okay.
And we're going to paddle through a dark cave. I don't really know how this is going to work, but is it pretty cool?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Good, good. I heard it's cold. Is the water cold?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Just get acclimated to those, turning them on and off.
We're getting hats.
Cannot wait. And a light.
Starfish. There's a rainbow trout in there.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, along with freshwater barracuda. Yeah, they like fingers, toes, and small children. Reach up, make sure it's longer than what you can reach. It wouldn't matter any other place in the world, but this is 38-degree water. The bigger paddle you have, the less water you have. Go ahead and grab the paddle, guys.
This is nuts. This didn't even look real.
So right now, it's about 10 to 8 feet from ceiling to floor, or I'm sorry, surface of the water to the roof. That's 235, about 25 to 27 feet of water. This is from the 70s, guys.
We're back. I don't know if you can see me, but you can probably hear me. I'm still being recorded. So that was fun. The water was cold, but it was super sick. Tour guides were some jokesters. Here we are, unloading. I'll eat that.
What a shame. So as you can see, it didn't last super long. Chase actually exploded. What's our next stop after this?
Home.
We're gonna edit this video that you're watching now.
And then do it all again tomorrow.
And then do it all again tomorrow.
Different adventures.
Yes. Bye.
See ya.
Made a new friend. Oh, bless you. So we got a little mud in the hair, a little mud on the face. Not a lot of mud on the camera though, so that's what matters.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of been climbing for a couple hours. It's a beautiful trail. It's wide, wide enough to where you don't really have to be scared when you're driving. Got a great guide, kind of leads you through. So although we are completely lost, we know that we're not.
It was like mud drops, like that, and then it was like the second one was like whoosh, and it was just like right here, and then I was just sitting in it. Gonna be sitting in it all day. I can't wait to ride a horse like this. These are my riding trousers.
What do you think, Kev?
Pretty cool.
What's your name of your horse?
This is Chigger.
Chigger
loves to eat.
Chigger loves to eat. That's right. I don't think there's a better horse ride in Appalachia. Like, the people here are amazing. It doesn't get any better than this. If you've ever wanted to do a ride like this, this is the best place to do it. I think it's part of the probably the prettiest part of the state is right here where we're at. We're coming up on a field right now that is pretty amazing. My horse is one horse, but I feel like it has 3 horsepower. I don't know anything about how that works. What's the name of your horse?
I think it's Sandy.
And this is Big Al. He's a good boy. And I'm doing the one hand right outside of Cumberland, Kentucky is where we're at right now. Right between Cumberland and Whitesburg, basically, is where we're at. It's very distracting that I got somebody singing something.
Just like that. First vlog is over. Got all faithful. Back in the car.
That's right.
Ready for the next adventure. Where do you think it'll be?
I think we'll definitely be back here. There's so much more to do here in Harlan County, but I don't know. We really got to look for some unique opportunities. Maybe send a call out and RFP, if you will, for counties, cities, regions to propose to us. Why Explore Appalachia should come to them, because everyone's got a lot to offer, and we want to highlight it all, but we can only go a few places. So here we go to the future adventures.
We are here at the Gorge Underground at the Red River Gorge with Tammy and Heather. We'll start out today by talking to Tammy. Tammy, I know Appalachia, Kentucky's tourism continues to grow, and there's a lot going on here, and I know there's a new marketing strategy to help that tourism. Kind of tell me about the work you all do.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're building the Kentucky Wildlands, a regional tourism initiative across 41 counties in southern eastern Kentucky. The goal is to bring one marketing umbrella across our region. If we can get overnight visitors here, they'll stay a little longer. We get more than the day trippers. So that's our main goal with the Kentucky Wildlands, as well as to provide for so many of our smaller cities and towns don't have a tourism budget at all, or they have a very small one. So we hope to be able to give them some exposure through this initiative.
And I know, Heather, the Red River Gorge brings people from all over the globe, and people love this area. Kind of tell me, why is it a great tourism destination?
It's a great tourism place because we have as many arches, natural arches, as Arches National Park actually in Utah. So we have those as attractions. Miles and miles of beautiful hiking trails that have cliffline views. We have Mill Creek Lake where we have kayak rentals. You know, we have Natural Bridge State Park, which was the original destination for people here. That's one of the largest natural bridges in this area, this part of the United States. So there's lots and lots of stuff to do. And then obviously here we have an underground kayaking adventure as well. So people are coming out here to stay in the cabins, get in the woods, go camping, go kayaking, go hiking. Rock climbing, of course, was the original first destination as well. We still have thousands of rock climbers that come here every year. I'm not a rock climber myself, but there's world-class rock climbing here, I hear. I've done the Via Ferrata, so we even have assisted rock climbing for people that maybe aren't as comfortable with something free climbing. So we have a lot of stuff to do here, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. As you guys seen, the fall colors are starting to pop out too.
This is such a unique area that we're in right now. Kind of tell me about where we're at and what you all do here.
So we are at the Gorge Underground. This is actually considered Rogers, Kentucky. It's a little confusing when you get out here in eastern Kentucky because the counties and the things change quickly, and the Natural Bridge State Park is in Slade. But here in Rogers, this is an abandoned limestone mine. So Kentucky's history is full of mining, both coal mining, limestone mining, all kinds of mining, and this is a great example of how tourism's heading in a new direction, right? We are repurposing our state from just mining to tourism and ecotourism, and this is a great example of how you can take an old mine and you can reclaim it and turn it into something that becomes a tourist attraction. So we have about 5 to 7 acres of flooded limestone mine here. This did hit an aquifer, so the aquifer floods the mine, and it's a great kayaking destination. It's beautiful in here. The water's crystal clear. We stock some rainbow trout just for fun. They're kind of our pets in here, but people love seeing them. You know, it's amazing to be paddling through crystal clear water in Kentucky with the lights under the boards, and you can see 20, 30 feet down because we have a lot of water in here. So.
And I don't know, but if you can see we have some paddle boarders out here. So is this the typical scene that you would see on a normal day out here?
It is, yeah. Pretty full of people going through. We do small group tours, so this year has even still been great for us because it's a great way for small groups, families to come out and still do something together, maintain social distancing, still get outside, enjoy fresh air, and get to see something that not everybody gets to see every day and learn a little about Kentucky's history and part of our mining history.
Perfect. Let's go back over here to Tammy. And Tammy, I know we just debuted Explore Appalachia. A lot of partnerships. Kind of tell me about the importance of partnerships and what it does for tourism.
Yes, absolutely. That video was phenomenal, by the way. We are so grateful to be part of this partnership. Especially as budgets get less and less, partnerships become even more imperative. So the more partnerships we can build, the more people out there telling us and showcasing that tourism is economic development, the more beneficial it's going to be to all of us.
Since I was already here, I thought I would hop on a paddleboard myself and check out the fun. And if you would like to check out the fun here at the Red River Gorge, you can just reach out to Heather here at South Kentucky.
It means a lot to me to hear and see people's stories about buying their first homes or their first cars, being able to support their family and live in a place that they love.
3 years down the road, when someone who has sit here in this Teleworks hub who has gone through a workshop with me and they call me and they tell me they are now a supervisor, they just got this huge raise, that is the most rewarding part about Teleworks for me.
What makes us different than maybe other services that do what we do is the hometown nature of it. When a worker comes in, when a prospective employee comes in, we get to know them. We can tailor something to them. Since we have relationships with these jobs as well, with these employers, we can say, this employer needs this person and you would be a great fit for that. That individualized service really makes Teleworks stand apart. It makes us successful, to be honest. We have a really good rate of placing people in jobs and a really good rate of keeping people employed. If you're interested in getting started with Teleworks USA, you can reach out to us online. We have a website, teleworksusa.com. Make sure you check that out. There's contact info for each manager there. Reach out to us on there, send us a message, and we'd be glad to help you out.
Greetings from Owsley County. First time I think we've been live down here in a while, if ever. I'm Brandon Robinson, of course, and the forecast may be dreary outside, but here in Boonville, it's looking pretty bright, especially when you talk about the Teleworks Hub. So we got some folks here with us today. To my right is Michael Cornett with EK-SEP. To my left is Carla Gabbard from the hub here in Boonville. And then you've got Regina Taggett from the Lawrence County hub. All right, so we got some questions we're going to ask some folks. And of course, I had them on my phone and my phone went to sleep. So there you go. It's live TV. That's the way it works. So Michael, we'll start with you.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about Teleworks USA.
Great. Teleworks USA is an initiative of Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Programs Workforce Innovation Board that has a mission to bring new-collar digital economy opportunities, remote work opportunities to the citizens of Eastern Kentucky. And we're blessed to be able to do that through 9 different locations. Of course, this is the Owsley County Teleworks Hub next door to that. And then we also have other locations. TeleworksUSA.com is the place to go to find out all about all of those different locations and get in touch with our managers that we have there at those locations who lead people through hiring events with all our national partner companies and have all that engagement with people. And we're just lucky to have a couple of really awesome ones here with us today. Of course, like you said, Regina and Carla, and they do a great job. All of our Teleworks Hub managers do an excellent job. They are the frontline people that help serve all of our customers and have helped be able to drive about 3,100 job placements throughout our region since 2015. So we're fortunate to have that mission. We take that job on very seriously and believe that the digital economy is a way to help Eastern Kentucky move into the future.
Good deal. And of course, with everything that's going on right now in 2020, you see us, we're masked up because we couldn't get 6 feet apart, and a lot of folks are working from home. So that brings us to our next question for you, Carla and Regina. The two of you serve as job seekers in very different areas of our region. So you've both had similar success. What do you think has been the key in your communities? I'll hand you the mic first, Carla, and then you give it to Regina when it's her turn.
I would say that community support. Here in Owsley County, we have our local judge executive, Judge Cale Turner. He's passed out flyers at the only stoplight here in town. We have the action team, which we're in the building now. Their support, and they provided equipment. And of course, our PRTC, our local internet provider, they provide fiber optic internet here in Owsley County. And between all of those factors, the community support, it really makes a big difference to make Teleworks successful here.
Like Carla said, it's not just our community within our county, but the surrounding counties as well. Also with me, I can bring that work at home experience to my clients. I used to work from home for 4.5 years doing these jobs. So I can actually let them know what it's going to be that they're going to be doing, about how to go about doing it. And you get to see people become like quality assurance agents, team leaders. I have a few of those myself.
So some similar stories from Carla and Regina. And of course, we're hearing a common theme: community support, internet access, which, this is one of the success stories down here in Owsley County, across our region. There's so many great things going on. But to have fiber optic internet throughout Owsley County, that's crazy. Especially, and it's great in this time. So add something. You got anything that you want to add to what they've already said?
Sure. I think the community support, like Carla said, is the absolute linchpin for all of this stuff. We've never been able to do what we do without that support, and we've never gone to a community and said, hey, let's do a Teleworks place there. It has been a result of coalitions of all sectors coming together and asking us what they need to do that. That happened here several years ago in Owsley County, and it's happened in all of the other 8 locations where we are located, and then some. So that support's critical. As critical as that is the broadband, as Carla mentioned, here in Owsley and Jackson. PRTC, Keith Gabbard, runs a great ship there, have some of the best internet in the country, but there's also other providers that do a similar job for that. Mountain Rural Telephone Cooperative, Foothills. We work with our friends and partners at Eastern Telephone and Technologies. There are so many of those. I'm afraid I'm going to forget one, but the East Kentucky network of broadband providers. It's not just fast broadband, it's affordable broadband. People need to be able to have access to that to do the jobs that we do. And like here with PRTC situation, there's no issues in meeting the speed requirements for the companies and the national jobs that we have available for people. So that is the fuel that makes what we do possible. It absolutely does. And without those partnerships, we couldn't do what we do. And because of those partners, like Cale Turner here in Owsley County and all the other chief local electeds and community partners, Molly Turner, who helped get this place started as the former director of Owsley County Action Team, Donna Harden, who continues that mission here with OCAT, all of those people make this possible. We're just happy to be here to do the work and to serve the citizens of these communities.
And of course, if you haven't been to Boonville before, I've only been here twice in my entire 14-year career at YMT. The Teleworks Hub is right next door, right next to the Family Dollar. But how can folks get started? That's the biggest thing I'm sure a lot of people want to know out there right now.
People can get started if you just want to know what we have. You can do a couple things. You can go to teleworksusa.com and connect with our managers at each of our hubs, ask questions, find out what's coming up. On Facebook, Facebook/TeleworksUSA. We post all of our hiring events and opportunities with our national partner companies there. So I would encourage anybody to follow and like that page to stay on top of things, because we're posting them there all the time. We're in the middle of a huge hiring push for one of our main partner companies right now. I'm glad they're taking time out to come here and do this here today, because it's a big deal. So those are two great ways to stay in touch with us about what we're doing and keep in contact with us constantly. But really, check out the website, teleworksusa.com, get in touch with our managers. And then also, just another thing to throw out there, this pandemic has not been something that has not affected us. Obviously, we have teleworks hubs that have usually been training centers and work centers. We've had to move to a virtual model since March. So we have been able to come up with ways to explore within other communities in our region, ways to license and partner with us and do what we do with that. So I would encourage anybody who hears about this and sees this and thinks this is a great thing, I'd love to check out more of it, to go to our website, look up Betty Hayes, our operations manager, who leads the team of our Teleworks Hub managers, and have conversations with her about what it would take to get a Teleworks Hub in your community. There's great resources out there like USDA grants under the great leadership of Hilda Legg. Can't say enough good things about her. She's helped us in a couple of our rollouts and developments of hubs. So there's a lot of ways to get this started. Check us out at teleworksusa.com, get that ball rolling.
You heard it here. We're live in Boonville, and we're soaring across eastern Kentucky. Let's say what we have coming up next in our SOAR Summit coverage.
The future is now in Appalachia, and Dashcore Aluminum is among the businesses adding its footprint to diversify Eastern Kentucky's economy. One East Kentucky met with the Canadian company initially in 2017 during one of many annual industry recruitment missions. After several meetings, follow-up visits, and bringing together key partners to close the deal, Dashcore committed to investing roughly $20 million and creating more than 250 new jobs. Renovations to the former American Woodmark facility began in early 2020 so that Dashcore could begin production even during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only does the company bring variance to the economy, but it has also brought new life to the Coalfields Industrial Park and the region as a whole. Key collaboration helped make Dashcore's expansion into the United States a reality. One East Kentucky, along with the Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program, performed two key workforce studies as proof the region offered skilled workers to build on Dashcore's existing foundation.
So we worked very closely with Chuck and the Dashcore Aluminum team to prove that we do have a workforce that could easily transition into those job opportunities that they could offer here.
Those studies found that much like the land and 200,000 square foot facility Dashcore now calls home, Eastern Kentucky's workforce stands ready and able to meet the needs of advanced manufacturers.
And people who know how to work, they have worked in industry, in the coal industry, for example. One of the few that you can find where people on a 7-day-a-week sometimes get up before daylight and get home after dark, and they do it over and over and over again.
Dashcore was founded in 2010 to rebuild a former Canadian company's assets to pre-recession status. Today, it is a leading manufacturer of extruded, fabricated, and anodized aluminum products. Dashcore supplies a wide range of industries like automotive, light rail transit, marine, and construction across North America. Their 2,800-ton extra press is cranking out products as we sit here today, a blueprint for what can be the future across Appalachia. We're here at the Coalfields Regional Industrial Park in Perry County at Dashcore Aluminum. Joining me now is Chuck Sexton, the CEO of One East Kentucky, and Steve Everett, the Dashcore Vice President of Operations. And Chuck, I want to start with you. When you're recruiting a company like Dashcore to Eastern Kentucky, what pitch do you have?
Well, I mean, our primary pitch when we're talking to any company is about our available skilled workforce here in Eastern Kentucky. Over the past 5 years, that's proven to be one of the #1 issues that companies face and one of the things they're looking for a solution to. And that's something we have here in Eastern Kentucky to offer.
Steve, tell us about Dashcore and what exactly you do here.
We're aluminum extruders. So we supply industry in the light vehicle, office furniture, automotive. We're pretty much in any market that you see aluminum in today. We haven't gotten into aerospace yet, but we're looking at that as well.
What made Dashcore decide to locate its first U.S. facility here in Perry County?
Chuck Easton and Ivy and with Trish from EKSEP came into Canada and met with the owner, I believe in 2018 was the first time. And then the second time in 2019. Dashcore was full. They have no more capacity in our plant in Canada. And it was a good decision to start to move into the U.S. to expand our markets. Kentucky offered a great opportunity.
How does our workforce here compare to the workforce in other areas where you've been?
Well, right now, I have traveled across the U.S. and Canada in several plants. This workforce here, they are miners. They're great workers. We've had no problem with them from training, from knowing equipment. They're not scared of it because they've been around it all their lives. So that's actually a benefit to industry.
How many do you employ here, and do you have plans to expand?
Yes, we employ 31 people here today. By the end of next year, we'll be up around the 80 people mark. Then we'll have to expand with more equipment, and over the next 5 years, we'll be around 200 people.
Chuck, One East Kentucky was recently awarded $1.2 million in federal funding for Opportunity East Kentucky. Tell me what that means and how you build on the momentum of Dashcore to bring more opportunities like this to Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, so our organization's been around for 5 years, and a lot of people probably don't realize it because of COVID. We have been undergoing a new 5-year strategy to broaden our focus and to try to achieve more results over the next 5 years. It's called OEK 2020 Vision. And so as we were thinking about how can we accelerate One East Kentucky's results for the region and more job attraction and more investment, Ivy Stanley on my staff and I, we worked together to look at what ARC had to offer from a funding standpoint from their grants. And we developed the Opportunity East Kentucky Industry Cluster Growth Initiative, which essentially matches our strategic plan over the next 5 years with some key points that are a part of ARC's strategic plan. The big things that are a part of that is continuing our recruitment efforts and ramping that up, making sure our marketing moves forward, whether COVID continues or not. We have to have better marketing for the region. So if we can't travel, we can still bring Eastern Kentucky virtually to CEOs around the country and around the world. We're going to build out a robust business retention and expansion program. And there's a piece that we really haven't talked about a lot, but I think our communities are going to be excited about, and that's on retail development. So each community who has a retail base, we're going to be working with them on understanding what new retail they can attract into their communities. That's not a big part, it's not a big driver of wages, but it is something that people want to see more of. Everybody wants a new store, everybody wants new restaurants, so we're going to try to provide that information to these communities so they can be successful in that area too.
All right, sounds like lots of things going on despite the ongoing pandemic. Chuck, Steve, thank you very much. Certainly an impressive facility here at the Coalfields Regional Industrial Park.
In October of 2018, Congressman Rogers pulled a roundtable together in Moorhead of all the healthcare providers in Eastern Kentucky, along with post-secondary education, all to talk about the workforce needs of the healthcare industry. At the same time that this was happening, the Kentucky State Chamber of Commerce, the Workforce Center, was launching talent pipeline management. So the convergence of those two things happening at the same time was very fortunate for the region.
Congressman Hal Rogers charged SOAR with advancing the efforts of the Eastern Kentucky Healthcare Collaborative that he convened. There were an enormous number of employment opportunities in the healthcare industry, and we needed to bring educators, training providers, and employers together to move these efforts forward. SOAR immediately reached out to EKSEP and the Kentucky Chamber Workforce Center as talent pipeline management was taking off in Kentucky for the first time. We convened the Healthcare Collaborative Employers again for the first time in January of 2019 and began these efforts. The Employer Collaborative projected 2 years out, and they said that in the next 2 years, they were going to need 730 registered nurses. A huge part of talent pipeline management is the convening of the partners. So we began to convene with everyone at the table again, employers and educational partners that they'd identified as those trusted partners in the community who they typically are hiring their registered nurses from. We brought them together and started to have a very real conversation. What are those issues? What are the challenges that these students are facing in these programs? They can't make it through. What we've done now is not just convened the employers, the educators, SOAR and EKSEP, but we've looked for creative solutions to these problems. It's the collaborative effort that is truly what has moved these efforts forward and what is going to continue to do so.
There's been a lot of work going on for the last 2 years as we work with talent pipeline management and all the business and industry leaders in healthcare. So we're excited about what this process is teaching us as a Workforce Innovation Board about how we need to change our approach to making sure that people, one, enter that pipeline, but also get the support that they need to stay in the pipeline until they're finished.
As PMC continues to grow and add new services and expand the existing services that we have, it was critical to find a pipeline of talent of healthcare professionals, particularly in the registered nursing field. It has been really good to see all these moving parts coming together, from us in the healthcare industry to the institutes of higher education, which will be training these future employees, to EKSEP, which is our workforce agency, the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, which is with the Talent Pipeline Management Group that gives us all the tools to put it all together, and then of course SOAR, which is the binding factor for it all. Bringing us together has allowed us to establish goals and responsibilities and objectives that we can now put into action.
You know, we all realized that we had the same need. We needed to break down the walls. We needed to work together to talk openly about, you know, what our concerns are. You know, looking at the region and the workforce that we had, how could we improve that and how could we grow that and who do we need to work with? So it was eye-opening when we all put our data together. We came up with over 730 needed registered nurses in our region by March of 2021. And one of the things that we realized right from the very beginning is that we needed to work with our educators. Our educators were actually our source to our pipeline for our workforce. But I think they learned very quickly that we were all there for the same reason. We spent a pretty good deal of time brainstorming with educators and just looking, you know, what are the opportunities, what are the barriers? If you don't have a great success rate and maybe passing your NCLEX, what can we do as employers to help those educators? You know, I think our partnership with educators, with other healthcare employers, with SOAR, with EKSEP, I think we're all on the same track. You know, we're looking for pulling people in. We want people to stay here. We want people to know what opportunities they have here.
It is of great importance that we work with our citizens to help them enter that pipeline and come out the other end with a career waiting on them. We're excited to be working with all of these local employers with great jobs and our post-secondary institutions to meet this high demand training need that we have in the region.
I'm Chelsea Mays. I grew up in Elliott County, Kentucky. I moved to Moorhead, Kentucky about 4 years ago. It's all really about my love for the animals and for farming and for the traditional ways of life. That's really everything that I'm about, and everything that I do is driving from my love of that. My new farm where I'm doing my business now, it is an 8-acre farm nestled back in the Daniel Boone Hills. My goats are allowed to free range across the whole land where they have plenty of grass and browse and the trees for more forage. All right, so initially with my business, how I sell and do markets has mainly been at local markets. So with the money that I have won from this competition, it's going to allow me to be able to reach the markets that I need to. It's going to get me to be able to get that website up and running. It's going to be able to let me build and finish in my soap shack and get the equipment that I need. Without winning this, I would not have been able to have that opportunity. It's really letting me do that to meet these markets. The Startup Appalachia Pitch Competition has helped me so much. From the beginning, from doing all the application entries for doing business plans, financial projections, and even to building my pitch itself. Being able to do that and actually do my pitch online, it helped so much. So I can't tell you exactly how much SOAR Innovation has helped me a lot. It got me thinking, it got me to really analyze and see what I was doing. And it let me to see where some of maybe my weaknesses were, things I could be doing better. So that getting that in the beginning of starting my business was really crucial and important so that I don't mess up in the future. And it helps to pave a more direct and a better guideline for me now to follow. If I was to tell anybody inspiring to be an entrepreneur, I'd tell them to go for it. Just completely go for it. Don't let anything hold you back. It takes a lot of work, a lot of determination, and just to stick with it, stick it out and see where it takes you. If you never try, you'll never know. I can't tell you how excited and happy I am over it. It's really wonderful.
Joining us now is Jonathan Webb. He's App Harvest founder and CEO. So App Harvest is an agricultural tech company that's building some of the largest greenhouses in the U.S., combining conventional ag techniques and technology to grow non-GMO, chemical-free produce.
Most U.S. produce comes from the West and Mexico, traveling thousands of miles to get to our plates.
There were 4 billion pounds of tomatoes that were imported from Mexico alone last year.
We can get to 70% of the U.S. population in a one-day drive.
We will have around 300 people running the operation over my shoulders. We're building one of the largest indoor grow facilities in North America. It will be one of the largest LED installations, and we'll be running on completely recycled rainwater.
The sensors and lighting allow us to grow with maximum efficiency. We call it controlled environment agriculture because you're controlling the environment inside of the facility.
What we have developed for App Harvest is this tracking and tracing system.
And we found that with a combination of LED lighting with HPS, we could achieve the best situation.
App Harvest has put a big emphasis on the education of these systems.
When we talk about resiliency, it's building systems that can withstand climate disruption.
I think veer your business toward the future. I just joined a board of a company called App Harvest, which is building gigantic, wonderful vegetable greenhouses in distressed areas.
It's good to see a company that's being aware of the impact that they'll have on every little piece of the community.
We're going to build farms from the ground up that we can all be proud of.
Hey everyone, Connor Dunwoody here in beautiful Moorhead, Kentucky at App Harvest, and I'm joined today by three gentlemen who are crucial to not just building the Rowan County business out here, but the Rowan County community as well. I'm joined alongside by Matt Gosnell, the VP of Development here at App Harvest, Bob Skena, the CEO of Vrajant Corporation, and Bob Helton, the Executive Director of the Moorhead and Rowan County Economic Development Council. Gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. Now, Matt, let's start with you. The story of App Harvest and creating a high-tech ag capital here in Appalachia was an idea. It's clearly not an idea anymore from where we're standing. Share with us to how we got to this point.
Well, Connor, it's been a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and elbow grease, and a whole lot of folks from across the spectrum that have helped us. You know, it takes a village to build anything in Appalachia. It took a lot more than that. In this case. So it takes folks like Josh Ball and Jared Arnett at SOAR providing an opportunity for different people to come together from across the region. It takes our local officials like Bob Helton working on the ground to make this a reality here in Moorhead. It takes our elected officials in Frankfort understanding what this business could be. So it's been a long few years to get us here, but it's gone by pretty quick, and we've got a lot more to come.
Awesome, Matt. Now, Appalachia is pretty strategically located to be really one of the nation's high-tech ag capital, and it's clearly garnered attention from investors. Kind of talk to me about what you share with them and what you see here.
Well, what we see here first is friends and family. I mean, much of us, including myself, have roots in the region, so it's important for us to come back and give to a region that we care so much about, that gave so much to us. I think this region has a lot to offer. Of course, in terms of logistics, we can get to 70% of the country within a day's drive. This is very important for our distribution partners. We think that Appalachia is a great area to grow beyond just this one facility here in Moorhead.
Awesome. Now, this area has some of the most sophisticated technology when it comes to growing. Kind of give us a little insight into how you can grow non-GMO tomatoes year-round.
So Connor, we're expecting 45 million pounds of tomatoes a year to come out of this one facility. So how do we do that? We can grow year-round, controlling the environment, controlling the heat, the temperature. But it's not just temperature, it's humidity, it's the CO2, it's our pest control, it's our acidity levels, it's our nutrients. So we give the plant exactly what it needs, nothing of what it doesn't. And we have people working from across the spectrum in terms of systems engineers, in terms of plant science folks, lots of specialists and technicians to make something like this a reality.
Awesome, Matt. Now, with all of these investments in this area, I want to talk to you, Bob, real quick.
Okay.
Kind of talk about the investments here and what you guys are doing to prepare for future investments.
Okay. Well, it's been certainly a very exciting couple of years. No one would have imagined having two major projects come along at exactly the same time. We had App Harvest working, and we had the Independent Stave working on their cooperage project, and I kept watching these track, and literally an announcement came within 2 weeks of each other. Either of those projects would have been hugely exciting for any community, but to have both of them was beyond imagination. We're talking, $170, $60, $70 million investment, over 500 employees between those two candidates, and then more recently, Mr. Skena with the Vrajant Corporation put a little icing on that cake and bought our spec building out here. So we're very anxious for construction to start on that.
Awesome. And kind of talk to me a little bit about that, those employment opportunities out here. It seems to be record numbers.
It is hugely record numbers for 500, 500 employees, and our local officials got a little nervous about that, to be honest. So they wanted to be sure that we're good to go with that. To that end, we've actually commissioned the Boyette Company to come in and do a deep dive study on our workforce area in conjunction with the larger East Kentucky study. We're also in the process of commissioning a group to work on our website, get our marketing and branding to prepare for our next level of employment here.
Great, I appreciate it, Bob. And you hit on Vrajant, and I kind of want to talk to you, Bob, about Vrajant and everything you do there. Now, we're here at App Harvest, and so much of the technology here is very high tech when it comes to agriculture. Now, kind of talk to me about Vrajant's technology and what they bring to Kentucky's agri-tech community when it comes to automation.
Okay, thanks for the question. I'll give a little background on the technology. We make rugged wireless communications networks. And we're used in mines and ports and rail and military applications around the world precisely because our technology is extremely reliable under pressure. Probably the most pressure that one of our networks has is used by the U.S. military to protect U.S. soldiers. So it's a system that uses radars and counterfires to shoot down rockets and mortars and incoming missiles. And so it's complex, and it has to work, and it has to work in extremely difficult conditions. So what we're really good at is making networking reliable in difficult environments. So as I look to the agricultural world with sensors and automation, that's right in the sweet spot of what we do. We take data that has to be relied upon, and we get it to where it has to go under really all conditions. So I think we're a good fit.
Definitely. And you're investing here. Talk to me about why this area specifically is such a good fit for you guys.
Well, our equipment is rugged and reliable, and that's what the people are like here in Eastern Kentucky. We were greeted fantastically when I got off the airplane to come visit for the first time 5 years ago. And everyone I met, everyone at every level, the local person, local merchants, the local politicians, the state politicians, the elected officials at every level were fantastic to us. They were extremely welcoming. I like to say, I'm just a kid from Jersey City, and I didn't know I had an accent until I came to Kentucky, and people pointed out that they liked my accent, I was surprised to find that I had one. But they were very welcoming to me and have been for 5 years. It's been fantastic. The employees we have are great. We send them all over the world, and they represent Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia really well. We do business in 62 countries, and we've probably sent some of these young people to about 50 of them. And so it's really the quality of the people, smart, hardworking, and reliable.
Bob, thank you so much. Now, Matt, I kind of want to ask you another question, no pun intended. You guys are growing here literally. This facility, a facility announced in Madison County, and you had mentioned a lot of plans. Kind of talk to me about how you guys have really got to this point in the culture and the atmosphere here at AppHarvest.
Sure. So I think it starts with the fact that we're a benefit corporation, which allows us to invest more in the communities in which we decide to build. I also want to mention our sustainability initiatives. Something we're very proud of here is we use 90% less water than open field agriculture. We collect rainwater, which we hear dripping right now, collecting in a retention pond outside. That's going to be 3 months worth of water. So it's important for us to stay off of the local water sources and try to do more with less in terms of resources. So I think in terms of our community outreach, feeds into our culture, a very inclusive culture, very focused on the employees and wanting to hire exclusively local here in Appalachia, trying to change the paradigm of hiring in this space.
Definitely. And you had mentioned hiring. Kind of talk to me about the opportunities that are available and how people can find that.
Absolutely. AppHarvest.com. We have an extensive career page. It's being updated daily. Hiring both for here, our facility in Moorhead, as well as future facilities and our corporate office support.
All right, Matt, thank you. Bob, thank you guys very much for talking with me here today. A lot of exciting things happening here in Rowan County and in the Moorhead area. Now let's send it on over to Somerset.
Well, Silicon Holler is coming to life right before our eyes. With App Harvest in Moorhead, Dash Core Aluminum in Hazard, Kentucky Wired connected to every county in eastern Kentucky, and telework hubs now developing in communities across coal country, we're seeing the fruits of our labor and our collaborative vision come to life. I remember meeting Jonathan Webb at one of the very first SOAR summits over in Pikeville. His passion for our region and this emerging ag tech concept for App Harvest was captivating from day one. I applaud the vision of this man and relentless perseverance that he has to bring App Harvest to life, and I believe it could transform the agriculture industry in our region and even across the country. Those are the big dreams that we need to keep cultivating in our communities, and we need to continue providing the seed funding and support for businesses like App Harvest, Dash Core, and Teleworks to create the jobs we need in eastern Kentucky. 2 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of going to West Liberty and Sandy Hook to announce over $5 billion to repair and replace deteriorating water resources. Eastern Kentuckians deserve reliable, good water, and it's a vital part of recruiting businesses to our region. While saving our water systems isn't a story that grabs many headlines, strengthening our infrastructure is no less important for our communities. Sometimes we don't see the forest for the trees in eastern Kentucky, and it's easy to lose sight of the original vision we had for this SOAR initiative, especially in the midst of global pandemic. As we travel through the city and past the old Morgan County courthouse, a military statue of Marine Captain William Barber in the yard of the old courthouse caught my attention. He was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner from West Liberty. His story reflects the resiliency and drive of eastern Kentuckians. Despite the critically wounded man during the Korean War, he led more than 240 Marines to hold off 1,400 Chinese soldiers in the Chosin Reservoir in Korea, protecting some 8,000 Marines to the north. Captain Barber was a 3-time war hero. In addition to his heroic efforts in the Korean War, he had earned 2 Purple Hearts and the Silver Star Award in World War II, and he later served in Vietnam. The statue depicts the moment that Captain Barber declared to his fellow Marines under siege by an overwhelming Chinese force, he says, "We will hold." So I want to encourage all of us today to keep up the good work in your communities and hold strong through these uncertain times. And I promise you that I'll be there to help you in every way that I can. And I know that my co-chair in this SOAR initiative, Governor Andy Beshear, will do the same. The governor, in fact, has been watching along with us from Frankfort all morning, and he joins us now from the Capitol. Governor?
Thank you, Congressman Rogers, and thank you for your decades of service to Eastern Kentucky. This has been an exciting morning, one where we have seen energy, investment, and teamwork. We've seen everything from new adventure tourism's described as, quote, sick by the people who are going through the experience, to the excitement of Dash Core and that next economy that we are starting to see around ag tech and agri-tech. To think that we opened the largest greenhouse in North America in eastern Kentucky just last week shows that our best days are in front of us. And with COVID-19, not just changing our present, but certainly it will change our future. It will change what people are looking for, with density of larger cities no longer being that draw. We are going to have more opportunity in Kentucky and in eastern Kentucky than ever before. We have so much potential. It's just up to us to grasp it. We have an opportunity to turn around decades of job losses and of depopulation. We may never have a better opportunity than right now and as we emerge from this pandemic. So let's continue to do so much of what we've seen during COVID-19, come together, realizing that we are all connected and we all succeed when we work together. When sometimes we put our own personal interest, and maybe it's even our own county's interest, on the back burner to make sure the region as a whole is able to bring in that next great opportunity. And let's make sure we are looking forward, that we are not chasing the jobs of the past 20 years, but we are creating the jobs of the next 30, 40, and 50 years. I love seeing the innovation that we have seen this morning. It shows that, again, there is so much possibility to not just rebuild, but to build a better Kentucky. To do that, we got to get through this virus, and we need you to continue showing the great leadership that you have. Now, today at 4 is going to be the first day we release our red counties, and we're going to need to see everybody step up with the leadership in each of those communities that has reached that point to do what it takes to create a safer community to support our economy, the education of our children, and the health and lives of our people. I know you'll be there. Now, this is a difficult time, but it's one where we can make investments, and it's one where we can do the legwork right now that others aren't, so that post-COVID world is our world, is Eastern Kentucky's world. I know that can happen, and I want to be a part of it. So I'm also happy to be here today with all of you to make one last important announcement about the future of Eastern Kentucky. I'm very pleased to announce that Colby Hall, the son of Eastern Kentucky, has been chosen as the next executive director of SOAR. SOAR, which stands for Shaping Our Appalachian Region, is our key Team Kentucky partner in doing just that. Colby brings a wealth of knowledge and his deep love of our Appalachian region to his new role. A 2015 graduate of the University of Kentucky, Colby in recent years has worked extensively in Atlanta's bustling technology startup sector. He's got a passion for Eastern Kentucky and its people, and his expertise in moving economies forward are going to strengthen SOAR's crucial work as an indispensable asset for our Appalachian region. And you're going to see that Colby has a ton of energy, which is just what we need. When Congressman Rogers and I did his interview, my one question is, how many cups of coffee did you have this morning before it? But that's the type of energy we need. One that's willing to run through a brick wall to move this area and this region forward. I'm going to be here every day working with SOAR, working with Colby, right alongside Rocky Atkins, who makes sure that Eastern Kentucky and what's good for Eastern Kentucky is in front of this administration every day that we serve. So please join me in welcoming Colby to this exciting new role as leader of this core institution that helps move all of Eastern Kentucky forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor. I've said for years that we need to stop exporting our best and brightest out of the region. Colby Hall is an example of a student who left home to get a college degree and moved to Atlanta to move up the ranks in his career. I'm thankful for young, bright, rising leaders like Colby who realize how valuable they can be in our region and how they can use their talents to shape a brighter future in Kentucky's Appalachian region. As we begin a new chapter of SOAR, I'm honored to personally introduce the next leader and visionary for Southern and Eastern Kentucky, head of the SOAR organization, Mr. Colby Hall. Welcome home, Colby.
Thank you, Congressman Rogers and Governor Beshear. It's definitely good to be home in Eastern Kentucky. It's nice to be formally introduced to you as well. I'm honored, humbled, and thrilled to be selected as the next executive director of SOAR. Having been born and raised here, I'm very aware of the challenges that we face. But I strongly believe Eastern Kentucky's moment is now. We have what it takes to build a better future together, and it's going to take all of us. Congressman Rogers, Governor Beshear, thank you for setting a great bipartisan example of what we can all do when we work together. I'm looking forward to getting out in the region and meeting as many community and business leaders as I can to hear what is needed to continue to move SOAR forward. Thank you.